trade was happening on this route to Riga. It's like, let's imagine if you are traveling from Königsberg to Riga, from Vilnius to Riga, you are passing through Bauska. So Bauska was usually having this very active trade activity. And the most important thing in Bauska was the castle, which we are approaching quite soon. We will see it on the right hand side. You see, in the past, this area, the Zemgale, came into the hands of the knights. The Knights of the Sword, the Order of the Knights of the Sword, nicknamed Livonian Order. Livonian Order Knights here in Bauska, they built their castle. How to control the area? They were building the castle in this pagan area, and they control all the territory around the castle. So here we had one of the castles that was as the fortress, as the castle that was later on turned to the residential castle of the Duke of this area, Duke of Kurland. So later on, this area is more independent. It is Duchy of Kurland and Semigalia, and Bauska Castle is the residence of the Duke. In the 16th century, on the right hand side, this castle will be visible. It is on such a high mount. So you see those two towers on the right hand side, this yellow building I hate, but behind it you see the towers. There is this Renaissance castle, but the castle has the older Gothic part behind. Gothic red brick walls are visible. So you see, this is a romantic view of the Bauska castle. That was the castle of the Livonian Knights and the castle of the Duke of Kurland later on. So it is now functioning as one of the museums in this area. Actually, the Duke, the Duchy of Kurland and Semigalia, there was really a period when it was doing very well. It was thanks to the Dukes of Kurland that were called Kettlers. There were several of them, several members of the family, but especially very known was Jacob Kettler, who understood in 17th century beginning that it's very important for such a small country to be also in trade. Trade brings money, and he started, Kurland was having the shipyards in the port of Ventspils. They were really building the vessels, the ships that were traveling with cargoes all around different oceans. Latvia is not mentioning this fact in the story very often. They are not possibly so proud, but they, when they like to, boast a little bit, to say what is in their history unique and what other Baltic states don't have. So it appears that only from all the three Baltic countries, only this part, this Duchy of Kurland and Semigalia, had the colonies outside. So they were having colonies in the area of Africa, on the Gambia River, and in Tobago. So why Latvia is not speaking about it like in the loud voice? Do you understand the route? Firstly, the ships that are built here in the north, they travel to Africa, to Gambia River. From Gambia River, they travel to Caribbeans, to Tobago Island. What do they bring? From Africa to, you can just guess, slaves. It was quite a common thing with all Dutch, British, many ships were really moving like that. Africans themselves, they were helping to load those vessels with their enemies. There were different fighting tribes in Africa. So if some historians, historical sources really say that when Curonian Spits were coming, when Curonian ships were coming to Gambia River, they had the friendly African tribes who were just loading the ships quickly with their enemies. And these enemies were traveling to Tobago. In Tobago, they were sold. And then, for the profit, for the money, the ships were buying, the ship captains were buying everything. what was the good of luxury here? Rum, tobacco, sugar canes, exotic birds, turtles, shells, and something like, everything what you spices, like vanilla, coconut, and so all exotic fruits. And all that was transported back to Europe, where, for example, to the ports of Riga they were coming and very successfully selling. Even exotic birds' feathers were at that time in a very big trend. There was a trend that all the ladies were having those huge hairstyles with the wigs that were decorated with different flowers and feathers and exotic birds. They were really in a very big demand. So in Tobago, if to go to Tobago Island, there are still some names that remind about this fact that in 17th century Curonian, the Duchy of Courland, was having a step there. There is the Curonian Bay in Tobago Island, reminding about this area. And later on, when there was also such an interesting historic fact, when Latvians, when Soviets striked, and when they needed to escape somewhere, so they liked very much to choose Tobago. And in Tobago there was a Latvian community, like if they were going to their colony of the past. So of course this colonial history of the Courland, the Duchy, didn't last long, because this area was it is a small duchy, and this area was attacked by Swedish in